Wave 2 is here. We got 2 new products. You guys love the first series Diaboromon so much, we decided to make some new color variations just for you. We also have a brand new design for the winter season, where we have our second series, Winter 0. And this time, it comes with different colorways right off the bat. The new drops are now live on the AVAULT store right away for pre-order, so be sure to check it out. Both new drops have single and 2-player versions as well. It is time to multiply and swarm the board with the brand new Diaboromon Ace. Like always, let's start with our Digi-Egg cards. We got 4 copies of the BT2 Sumemon, which gives you your turn while you have another Digimon with the exact same name. You get extra 2000 DP, which is going to be really important because you want to make sure that your top end with your Diaboromon has a lot of DP to rack up upon it so they can swing in security or take down Digimon as much as possible. That's the 4 eggs that are definitely will run. Then let's now talk about our rookies. Starting off with the searching types, we definitely have 4 copies of the BT5 Caramon in particular. On play, revealing top 5, you can grab a Errata Sonata, which is your dedicated Tamer deck, but also grabbing a Digimon with the unidentified traits to your hand. Potentially getting 2 hits with this is always fantastic. Great value when it comes to that, and you always want to be hard playing it just because it doesn't have any inheritable whatsoever. But speaking of inheritables, these are some of the Caramons that you want to be playing to build your stack. We got 4 copies of the BT2 one, which lets you draw one when you play another Digimon that has the same name. Usually when you're playing Diaboromon and their tokens, they have the exact same name, so you can ramp up and draw a lot more faster with this particular card as you're going for those top end combos, which is going to be really crucial because draw power is always great. Then we got 4 copies of the other Caramon from EX1. This one gives you extra 1000 DP for every other Digimon you have in play that also has the same name. We mentioned about how important it is with Sumemon to gain extra 2000 DP, but we want to continue to ramp that up every now and then so that we can gain even more than that. So it really benefits to make our Diaboromon as strong as possible as well. That's it for our rookies. Now let's talk about our level 4s. Starting off, 4 copies of Kurosari from BT5. This one basically lets you play Errata Sonata for free when digivolving if you don't have one. Really crucial and really important because the earlier that you can play this card in digivolve, you can get a lot of value out of it because you get to play that particular tamer for free, so then you can set up and ramp up your combos later on. But most importantly, also it's inheritable because it gives all your other Digimon with the same name Rush as well. And when you rush, again with those tokens, as you're playing them, they can basically attack immediately at the same time they basically come out. And this is what gives the deck the all power and aggression and the swarming capabilities that synergize all together to make multiple attacks to win games very quickly, which is why you want to see it as often as you can. Next, I'm actually playing 4 copies of the other Kurisarimon, the promo one in particular, which basically provides you decoy for black and white, so then you can protect your Diaboromon. Not only you might have like really high DP sometimes, but you also want to be protected with anything that's sort of effect deletion or removal, that type of stuff. These can help you use your tokens to give it, and keep your main Diaboromon alive for as long as possible, which is really crucial because you don't want to end up losing it because you can lose a lot of value as well. But if you guys don't have access to this particular promo one as much, you can definitely play more of this one, which is the BT2 one, which I'm only running 2 copies at the moment. You gain a memory when you play another Digimon the same name. It's not once per turn either, so we can actually ramp up a lot of memory, which is really good. So you guys can juggle between the priorities when it comes to what kind of level 4 strategy you want to go for when you're building your very own Diaboromon deck too. Let's talk about our level 5s now. We actually don't have anything that is unidentified related, to be honest. I'm actually playing a very different level 5 package. First and foremost, I'm actually going to be playing this Mamemon from BT11. The reason with its on play and when digivolving effect lets you potentially play your tamer for free, but afterwards you can rearrange everything else back to the top or bottom of your deck in any order so you can set up for potential future plays. And we want to be able to cheat out as many erratas as possible for free, because the more errata we have, the more value we can get later and throughout the entire rest of the game, which is really important. It also has that inheritable of your turn once return. When you play another Digimon via an effect, one of your Digimon that you get to choose gains blocker, which is going to be really crucial and really nice for some defensive strategies there too. And then to round it off for our level 5s, I'm actually playing 3 copies of Andromon. When digivolving, it de-digivolves one of your opponent's Digimon. And then it has Reboot as an inheritable. This is going to be really important because when you go into your top end combos, you can actually almost get rid of almost anything in the game, which is really good. And I'll talk about it more in the combos later on. But as we talk about and bridge into our level 6s, the whole reason why we also play it is because now we have the 4 copies of this brand new Diaboromon Ace. 6 costs a hard play, but you generally want to be Digivolving as much as possible because it is Ace card. You get to hand counter blast Digivolve. Now it does a lot because when Digivolving and when attacking, not once per turn, you get to play a Diaboromon token that's the usual level 6 white 3000 DP, and you basically get to do that for free, which is going to be really good, and it synergizes with its last effect. Of all turns once per turn, when an effect plays another Digimon, you may delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3 cost or lower. But for each Diaboromon you have in play, you get to increase that maximum cost by 2 for every. So meaning that you can actually go for your turn. When you Digivolve, you play a token. You don't necessarily have to go ahead and use this effect immediately because it lets you use it as a you may once per turn. So you can go attack first, play in the second token out, and then potentially pop a 7 cost in total, because a 3 cost is starting, and then you would play 2 tokens out via this effect in total, so you can pop 7 cost, or you can pop a 5 cost depending on the situation, whichever you need in that particular moment. And even when you Digivolve your opponent's turn, you can potentially surprise pop their Digimon during their turn too, which is really, really nice. A very, very powerful card, and because it's a level 6 Ace monster, it does have Ace Overflow -4, making you lose memory if it ever leaves the battle area in any way. Since we're talking about Diaboromon, do you guys know that in BT14, we're going to be getting a brand new Diaboromon in Secret Crisis as well? And the coolest thing is that it's going to have an alternative win condition. What do you guys think that specific win condition is going to be? Because I'm definitely really curious and super excited, and definitely will be covering an updated deck profile for that when the time comes. So definitely be sure to stay tuned by subscribing, turning on notification bell, and also giving this video a like. And if you ever want to see early deck lists, definitely join the AVAULT club, because I'll definitely be working on it when the time comes around as well. So definitely join, and I appreciate the support. Then for the other Diaboromon, I'm actually running 2 copies of the EX1, which is the white one. It has that security effect letting you to play a token, but also most importantly, opponent's turn, all of your Diaboromon gain blockers, so you can go for the defensive strategy. The Ace one is for offensive and also defensive applications and surprise attacks, but this one is geared towards more defensive strategy, so that you can play more tokens, potentially with a security effect, and then you can establish yourself a really strong defensive system to prevent your opponents from running you down very, very quickly. But that's all when it comes to the level 6s. Let's now talk about level 7s. Of course, Armageddonmon, which is the main level 7 to top it all off for Diaboromon. It mainly has Rush, and when you play this card from your hand, you can pop a Diaboromon essentially, so that you can reduce the play cost by 12, making it a 3 cost rush attacker to really help you finish games and make aggressive attacks. And it's kind of like a surprise sometimes on your opponent. So it's a really, really good card. But not only that, if it does stick on the board and the game still continues, it has that all turns, the when Digivolving effects of level 7s don't activate, which is kind of good against certain decks when you need to counter those too. And then last but not least, I am running 1 copy of Quartzmon, just because it's one of the best staple sort of like boss level 7s for any green, black, or white based deck. Suspending everything, stopping everything at a time, suspending, and things can't unsuspend either. You can swing, trash security, which is always really crucial. But the most important thing is that this card also has unidentified in its traits, meaning it's actually searchable, and also synergizes with some of your other effects moving forward as we get future support too. So that's it for all of our Digimon. Now let's talk about our Tamers. First, of course, you definitely need 4 copies of Rada Sonata. This is a 3 cost Tamer, and it gives you a forever ongoing value effect of start of your turn. If you have a Digimon with unidentified in its traits in your trash, specifically Digimon, Digi-Egg doesn't count. Keep in mind, guys, you get to gain 1 memory, and you're always going to set yourself up in having something in the trash very easily, so you get to constantly gain that memory. The sooner you establish it, the greater value it's going to provide you for the entire rest of the game. And your turn, when one of your Digimon digivolves into Diaboromon, you get to suspend this Tamer to play out a Diaboromon token, as per usual, 3000 DP, level 6, and all that stuff. That's white as well, which is really crucial because you want to be able to play as many tokens as possible, so you can make those attacks like I mentioned earlier on. Then for security bombs or sort of options related, I'm actually playing 3 copies of Catastrophe Cannon, which has a main trigger, D-Digivolve 2 on your opponent's Digimon, and if you have a Diaboromon on the play, you get to play a token out afterwards, which is always really nice. D-Digivolving 2 is actually pretty good, especially against sort of your opponent's big stack when it's trying to swing in. There's almost no protection against this particular effect, so it's just always really, really good. And even though itself is just a 4 cost, which is not a lot to pay for, and I definitely like to say this card has came in clutch, saved me a ton of times to counter against the opponent just because of how often we kind of see it. But for the rest of the options here, definitely 4 copies of defense training. We're playing black base, sort of related cards, so then we get to search further and also digivolve into our stack way quicker thanks to it. Always really great staple to have for sure. And just for more searching consistency, I'm just finalizing it with 2 black memory boosts, just so sometimes we might want to be able to dig deeper and improve the search consistency, just because we can only really rely so on our Diaboromon to do early game searching. Therefore, you want to have more searching cards to sort of compensate alongside as you're digivolving and building your stack to draw more cards that way instead, since there isn't a whole lot of draw power when it comes to this deck either. All right, for tech choices, let's talk about other Diaboromons you can play. Certainly, there is also this promo Diaboromon that can digivolve for 3, gaining very simply security +1 for each Diaboromon you have, including itself too, which is really great. And you can swing for a lot of multiple checks. If you ever do spawn on board with a lot of wide Diaboromons and tokens, you can go for massive checks and potentially even OTK your opponents, which, however, you don't really need. Being able to play the ace one and focus more, you can definitely go for more offensive strategy and switch this out for the other one from EX1 instead. Totally up to you guys, but I think again, you want a little bit more defense and you don't want to be too much leaning towards aggressive and offense. Then we got the BT2 one right here. This one has when attacking letting you play a token as well, which can help you consistently play more, which is always going to be good. It has that all turns if it would be deleted by battle specifically. You can delete one of your other tokens or any other Diaboromon to prevent deletion. Kind of neat, but not super needed as well, just because it does cost 4 to digivolve, which is kind of a little bit much. But yes, let's now talk about the Infirmons. You guys might be wondering, for level 5s, why aren't we playing any Infirmons? But we'll showcase here as the other choices. Although it is unidentified and has a lot more trait synergy overall, I really like my straight up lineup, which I'll explain exactly in the combos. You guys will understand why it's just more crucial that way. But going back to the BT2 one right here, you can sort of reduce your Digivolution cost, but it doesn't provide you an inheritable, so it's kind of not the greatest card overall. But and then the EX1 one, which has a kind of unique effect. You know, when your opponent digivolves into level 5 or higher Digimon, you get to gain a memory during the opponent's turn, and it gives you extra 2000 DP all turns, which can come in handy every now and then. And then we got the warping one, which I would argue, you know, if you really do want to put like an Infirmon, this would be the one to go to, just because you warp on top of a Diaboromon, paying a little bit more memory, but that's totally fine. And by doing so, you also get the inheritable on deletion, letting you play tokens as well, so you can go through Digivolution stack fairly quickly. And yeah, which is kind of nice. But anyways, until we get new Infirmon, I think, you know, these are the only ones that are available to us at the moment. Next, we actually got Vaidmon right here. Very similar concept to why I'm playing Andromon specifically, so we can de-digivolve potentially on your opponent's Digimon. You can even do it multiple times with this particular card, but it doesn't provide you that inheritable like Andromon does, which I think is actually kind of crucial too. Then, because you are playing erratas, which you quite have some like handful of black tamers, you can definitely play like 1 Mercurymon for a hybrid for game if you ever need that extra swing. But often enough times, I've been able to swarm the board really quickly and make so many multiple checks in that one single turn. It's, yeah, it can close games pretty well without having a hybrid. Then, based on the meta, you can also definitely play Def-X if you want to counter wide boards, pop things as well at the same time. Also pretty decent because it is black, so it was related to this color of the whole deck idea, so you can sometimes digivolve if you want to, but ideally you're always going to be hard playing Def-X instead anyways. Speaking of more tamers, if you want a memory tamer, Izzy's definitely the way to go. It is effectively almost like a 3 cost, 3 memory tamer, which is always really good. You know, you do want to start your turn with a little bit more memory, make more plays, but thanks to all the training boosts and memory boosts that we have a lot of searching consistency now, we don't really necessarily always need to rely on a memory tamer. But if you guys do want one, this is definitely the one to go to for sure. And of course, if you want more removal when it comes to other than Catastrophe Cannon, Ultimate Flare and Digi-Dimension is always really good based on the particular meta. Ultimate Flare for big stack decks, de-digivolve stuff by 3, pop everything that's 3 cost. Digi-Dimension is better for wider boards, de-digivolve 1 on 3 things, and you get to delete 3 things that's also 6 cost or less afterwards, which is really good too. So based on your personal preference when it comes to that. All right, how to play Diaboromon Ace and this particular deck. Starting with your opening hand, you do want to see your level 3s, which is your Diaboromons. These are the ones that you get to digivolve usually, and you also definitely want to see your searching one, because you always want to reserve this as your hard play target so that you can potentially get 2 hits, and as well as your searching cards more here with defense training and black memory boost, whichever you come first you see. And you want to see stacks to build into your level 4, 5s, and then into your 6s as well. Of course, in the meantime, you do also want to see Errata Sonata. The earlier you see it, the better it is. Definitely try to search it with the Caramon. So of course, hatch your Digi-Egg, Digivolve into either one of these guys right here, hard play the Caramon as well, and hard play these cards as well to search. And what I ideally like to do is, you know, you might sometimes push it up. If not, you might even just Digivolve outside in here, go into this Kurosari early, and so you can play an Errata for free if you don't have one. Errata is such a good card that you know, having multiples is always going to give you a lot of value if you see two, but usually one is good enough in the whole game situation, because as you're climbing up your stack, you want to save your defense training, you want to save your black memory boost for your Digivolution stuff here, so that you can Digivolve into this for free. And then you want to get into your level 5. You have two options when it comes to your level 5. You can Digivolve into Mamemon, and Mamemon can potentially help you play a second Errata out there, which is going to be really great value there. And then eventually, you know, if you're able to sort of retain your turn and keep turn, you want to then Digivolve into this Diaboromon here. It is an ace card, so sometimes you do pass your opponents to the side of memory after going to Mamemon. You can kind of bait your opponent, you know, when they attack, then you surprise them with Diaboromon ace. Because right after that, when Digivolving, you get to play out a token immediately. And right here, you can pop something that's 5 cost or less, because with its last effect, it starts at 3. And then with Diaboromon, it will increase it to 5. And because you also have this Diaboromon, which does count itself immediately there, that's actually a 7 cost deletion right off the bat. And you can always, yeah, again, surprise the opponent just like that. Another way I kind of like to do it is reverse back a little bit. And this is the whole reason why I play Andromon, and I think it's really good, because when it comes to your turn, you can go for even offensive style plays. You want to make sure you can Digivolve into Andromon and Digivolve into your Diaboromon ace during your own turn, because this is going to be an incredibly powerful, almost like OTK combo. Because once you do so by using your black memory boost and your defense training, going into Diaboromon ace, when for Andromon first actually, you de-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. So if it's a level 6 on their board, you turn it back into a level 5. And what that means is that when you go into Diaboromon ace here, you get to play out a token with its when Digivolving effect. Imagine if you don't have Erratas, for example, you would then actually attack with it, not using its last effect just yet, because you want to use this when attacking, play another one out here. And then when you play the second one, you can then pop that Digimon that basically has 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9 cost or less. And 9 cost basically covers almost every level 5 in the game. And just by being able to pop that, you can delete almost any Digimon thanks to that. Now here, if you have Errata Sonatas, you get to suspend them and play more tokens out from it as well. And by playing all these tokens, you also get to draw with the Caramon here, and it's not once per turn either. And if you have this other Caramon, you'll be racking up a lot of DP as well at the same time, because it gains 1,000 for each of the other Digimon the same name. So essentially this will gain you a lot of DP, and alongside with Sumemon, you gain even more DP because of that. Now because you're swinging here, and you have this particular Kurosari the BT14, which gives everybody rush, which is really good, because then if you actually just like swing with all your tokens one at a time, and it doesn't matter if they get deleted, because if they do, that's basically 5 checks here all in one go, taking out your opponent's basically all their security. And if you chipped away them earlier on, you basically go for lethal, and you can just swarm the board easily and just like just win the game out of nowhere right there, which is really, really, really cool. Otherwise, sometimes if you don't see your Diaboromon ace, it's also decent to Digivolve into this one, because if you spawned enough tokens, at least you can play the defensive way in the early stages of the game to hold the fort a little bit, try to build up a second stack in the back if you can, and then eventually Digivolve into this Diaboromon ace if you can find it sometime later down the road, which is going to be really important as well, because once you get into this ace, as right here, you Digivolve into this Mamemon as well. Keep in mind, if you don't have this Diaboromon, this Mamemon, when you Digivolve during your own turn into Diaboromon ace, you play on another token, this will gain blocker. You can give this blocker, or you can give the token blocker as well, which is kind of neat. And then with this inheritable, you get to gain memory constantly back as well. And I did mention earlier that I do like this other Kurosari because of the decoy. As you're spawning out more tokens, you can always keep your Diaboromon protected. It does have ace overflow, so your opponent's going to find a lot of ways to try to remove it as much as they can. So you do want to be careful and give it the, the best protection you can potentially have too. Like I mentioned earlier, the other thing is when you swing with the Diaboromon ace having Andromon underneath, you can reboot it back as well, so potentially your opponent can't attack into it. So when it comes to the later stages of the game, then you have more options. You can potentially go into Quartzmon to further control, or when it gets back to your turn, if you start your turn at 3, you get to swing with the token. If the token survives, you pop one of your tokens, go for Armageddon here, and then just basically rush for game and finish it just like that too for surprise attacks. And yeah, very straightforward. You just want to build into your stack, go into Diaboromon, establish as many erratas as possible because they constantly gain you memory, but also once you get into Diaboromon with Errata Sonata, you can play a ton of tokens, go for a wide board, make many attacks, and finish the game very, very quickly, just like that. So be sure to check out the AVAULT store right now and get your very own copy of the Winter Zero playmat. If you want to see this particular deck and learn how to play it, be sure to check out the gameplay video right here, right now. As always, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video, and this is AVAULT, signing